What's up guys, it's Agent J and today I'm going to be reviewing the iPhone 6. I do hope you enjoy this video. Let's get started with the basic use of any smartphone, and that's call quality. Call quality was quite clear while using this device. I experienced zero drop calls, which might be related to the new antennas found on the outside of the device's chassis, or the new advanced LTE chips on board, which provides better quality and better range. The loudspeaker was quite clear and noticeably loud, and it was very audible. Users on the other end of the phone call had no problems hearing my voice. My beautiful voice, that is. Also, I did not have to raise my voice, which is a really good thing. Let's talk about the design of the iPhone 6. The iPhone 6 carried forward the same unibody design and schematics as seen on previous iPhones. However, everything is bigger, better, and larger. Two of the most noticeable things about the iPhone 6 is how light it actually is in the hand and how ridiculously thin it is. I'm not sure how they got this to be such a lightweight, but damn, it's light. I can't emphasize this enough, it's really light. I experienced no pains or wrist ailments when typing on a device, which I experienced with many other smartphone makers. In fact, typing on the iPhone 6 with a larger screen size feels really good. At the base of the device has a speaker grill, which, like I said, works really well for loudspeakers. It's also good enough to get your attention during gameplay or waking you up on those chilly Canadian mornings. Apple did a commendable job with their button placement. They moved the power button from the top of the device, where it used to be, to the side of the device, which is actually the perfect place for any touchscreen smartphone over the 4.2-inch mark. Apple has now added a new secondary feature to their home button. When double tapped gently, it brings the top of the screen closer to the center of the display, so users could quickly access anything that they want from the top of the screen previously. This is going to be really helpful for girls and those people with short stubby fingers. I had a few issues with the design of the device. That is, during messaging, the ringer / silent switch was really sensitive to the touch and switches between modes, even though the switch hasn't even moved. I reached out to Apple and they said bring it in and they'll exchange it for me, so that's really good. I couldn't find a reason to hate on the Apple design. The aesthetics was quite pleasurable when I was using it to look at and to actually hold. Also, the NFC antenna bands on the outside are a bit awkward for me. In the other colors such as the gold and the silver, it actually looks really pronounced and it's very ugly. So get the space gray, it barely shows it, it sort of blends it in. At the back of the device body, the camera lens protrudes outwards, which does not keep the device flat when rested on a table. A quick fix to this is actually just purchasing a case from eBay, Amazon, or even the Apple store, and your problem is solved. This is not a deal breaker to me because I actually kind of like that raised lens with the sapphire on it, because you could put your hand on it for one-handed use. Now, you're probably wondering if this device is durable for the next 2 to 3 years of my contract, and absolutely it is durable. The device has a timeless appearance, and the body's made of aluminum, so it gets fewer scratches. The internet has been publishing Bendgate, aka iPhone 6 and 6 Plus having bending issues on their body near the top region of the device. I had no such problems. If I do have any problems like this, I will definitely put out a video, so be sure to subscribe. To the front of the iPhone 6 has a new 4.7-inch IPS LCD display. Apple is calling it Retina HD, which has a resolution of 1334 pixels lengthwise, 750 pixels widthwise. It manages to keep the same PPI as the iPhone 5S, which comes in at 326 PPI. The viewing angles on this device was quite wide. The best feature of using an IPS display is you can use the phone in sunlight without getting that glare issue. With the new size and resolution, users no longer have to suffer from banding issues that you see on previous iPhones when streaming Netflix or YouTube. The screen quality is solid, you can't see the pixels, it's really beautiful, you get really clear images. The best design feature of the screen, however, in my eyes, is the chamfered edges of the glass. I love how it rolls right off to either sides of the device. It makes swiping and moving your fingers so much easier for navigating the 4.7-inch display. The screen follows the FFF principle, which is form follows functionality. The best way to describe this is the edge of the display. It has been like melted into the body. Let's talk about the hardware. Looking at the iPhone 6, it looks like it was teleported from 2012 with its specs. With its dual-core processor, 1GB of RAM, 8-megapixel camera. However, Apple has done a ton of optimization to the OS to get it running like a champ. With Apple's new A8 processor, it works faster, harder, and much more efficient than previous generations. Also, it supports 64-bit processing for 64-bit applications such as Pages, Keynotes, and Numbers that's seen on Mac computers. You're probably wondering now, how does all of this translate to real-world usage? I use iMovie 4 for a 4-minute clip with pictures, music, and it took 2 minutes to actually export and render. During gameplay, while using the device, I experienced no lags, no drop frames, no bogginess, no slowdowns from the processor or RAM. Nothing crashed, nothing gave out. Gameplay was smooth, and often I had 5 to 6 apps running in the background of iOS, which does a wonderful job optimizing the hardware of the device. One of my favorite features in the hardware division is the Touch ID sensor. It makes your life a lot easier when used. Unlocking the device and paying for apps is so much easier and that much faster. Be careful, however, because you could get carried away buying a lot of apps. Under the hood of the iPhone 6 has a new M8 coprocessor which collects, processes, stores sensory data while the device is asleep. Applications then retrieve this data when the device is powered on, which reduces the amount of power being drawn from the device and saves on battery life. Also, it can be used for tracking physical activities such as walking, texting, running, driving as well. The software on this device runs iOS 8, the latest and greatest that Apple has to offer. It took me about 2 minutes to get the phone actually set up and about 10 minutes to actually feel like I mastered iOS 8. I felt like I knew everything and where everything was. iOS 8 is all about adding sprinkles to the cake. This, I mean, it's all about the subtle refinements to the OS. In some cases, it's catching up to Android and BlackBerry 10 with a few battery tweaks here and there. iOS 8 users can now view websites in desktop mode via the browser. Some of the coolest features that I found in iOS 8, what a lot of people don't really know about, is the Spotlight feature, which allows you to search the entire device and also search the internet. Also as well, it allows you to send voice notes over iMessage. It allows Siri to use Shazam to find your favorite songs on the radio. You could trash and flag emails really quick. You could also hide photos from the eyes of your prying girlfriend, display contacts you interacted with just simply double tapping the home button. Apple also added a quick reply, which allows users to quickly reply to messages without opening the app. iOS 8 also supports grayscale, which could be found under the settings. It also has built-in fitness apps which track your health as part of Apple's new Health Kit platform. Let's talk about my favorite part of the iPhone 6, and that's the camera. To the back of the phone has an 8-megapixel camera, and to the front has a 1.2-megapixel camera. Both are very good at taking photos. The camera on the back of the device uses a dual pixel technology, which grabs focus really fast, like lightning fast, faster than any digital camera I've ever owned. The new dual pixel focus technology makes it so easy for you to focus that you don't even have to tap to focus. You just press a shutter button and you're done. The focus is that good. The downside of using an 8-megapixel camera is you get less detailed images. So if you're planning to crop the picture and print it off, you might want to not do that. However, using an 8-megapixel sensor, the pixels are larger, so it works better in low light conditions such as at dinner, at a concert, or at the nighttime. That being said, the camera has a plethora of features on board, such as its new time-lapse feature, slow motion at 120 frames per second, and 240. Use the 240 if you're going to do slow motion. Trust me on it. It also has one of the best panorama modes that I've ever used, so you could show off to all your friends where you are. The camera software also comes pre-installed with filters and aspect ratios for cropping, for those who doesn't really like to tinker with photos. And for those who do, there's a very powerful editing tool on board where users can change the exposure, shadows, blacks and whites, contrast, tones, just to name a few. Video recording is done at 1080p. The video quality is good. The video recording isn't going to set any records in this region. It lacks optical image stabilization, which the iPhone 6 Plus has. So as expected, the video is very shaky, the focus is very fast in the recording mode. The camera is solid. It blew my mind with what the camera is capable of doing. It's basic but very powerful, and the features, you're going to use them 95% of the time. You enjoy using these features. I love it, and I give it a solid 9.5 out of 10. just because it lacked that optical image stabilization. So most of you are probably wondering what's powering this device or what's getting it throughout the day, and it's an 1810 mAh non-removable battery. I was able to get between 12 to 14 hours over Wi-Fi and LTE usage. I have about 4 email accounts being synced, a heavy messaging user. I use BBM a lot, Fiber a lot, WhatsApp a lot. Also, I use 20 to 30 minutes of talk time, 30 minutes of browsing, 10 minutes of playing games, 10 minutes of watching Netflix or some movies while I'm having lunch. Also as well, I had to display at the 60 to 80% mark line. iPhone 6 managed to get me through one of my longest days, which is about 14 hours. If you're a student or someone who has a shorter day, I don't think you're going to have a problem with battery life. Some things I didn't really like about the iPhone 6, and one of them are the SD expandable storage. It does not have one, so whatever device you buy, you're stuck with that size till whenever. You could substitute a cloud-based storage options like Google Drive, iCloud, or MediaFire, depending if you want, but that's going to cost you bandwidth to pull down files and get back files and upload files. The last thing that I didn't really like was the third-party sharing. It was almost non-existent in the OS. It was mainly Apple applications was capable of sharing. That's more like first-party sharing. I would like to simply just share the picture from the photos to Viber, to WhatsApp. You know, that would be just a lot nicer and easier for me versus I having to open the actual app to share. Now you're probably asking yourself, should I buy an iPhone 6? If you're a die-hard Apple fan and you're coming from the iPhone 4 or 5, this is going to be a difference for you to get used to the screen size. But you'll learn to love it. If you're on the fence and expecting something differently, you might want to have a look at Apple's iPhone 6 Plus, or check out their competition like Android. I like the device. On a 2-year contract, you should have 0 issues with it, since Apple has clearly optimized the software to get the best out of the hardware. Using this device made me forget of everything else out there, whether it be Android or BlackBerry 10 or Windows Phone. And that's a good thing. Apple may not have the customizability or hardware that exists out there on Android. Once you try it, you'll understand why iPhone users always goes back to iPhones. They give you a finished product that does everything you want it to do. It's exquisite, it has a designer appearance to it. I approve, and I think if you're looking to try the iPhone 6, try it. It's a really solid phone and it's going to get you through your 2 or 3-year contract. If you did enjoy this review, please hit the like button and the subscribe button down below. Be sure to check out my other iPhone videos.